Hello, welcome back to the Future Print Leaders Summit. Delighted to have with me now Mr. Gary Falconbridge, who is the founder and CEO of COLORDYNE Technologies, based out of Wisconsin, is that right? And your nearest city is Milwaukee, Brookfield.
Yeah, we're based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then
Yes.
we have offices as well over on the West Coast in Phoenix, Arizona.
Fantastic. Welcome, Gary. Welcome. And thank you, obviously, for supporting the event, becoming a Future Print partner. It's really exciting for us to have you, a real innovator involved. And the session today is an interview-based discussion with myself and Gary. And the title is Leadership Through Innovation, Collaboration and Adaptability. What I like about this is that you've got a very clear vision here to empower business through the adoption of digital inkjet. And we'll talk more about that with some key values that we've mentioned there: innovation, collaboration and adaptability. And also I sense that it could be an optimistic view of the future as well, which is something we all need right now, a bit of optimism and so on. So Gary, why don't we sort of kick things off by kind of introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background, how you got involved in print and digital print. And obviously you're an entrepreneur yourself, a founder of the business. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your background.
It's interesting, Marcus. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on Future Print. It's an opportunity to share our story. Interesting background of over 32 years in the printing industry. I won't bore you with too many of the details, but some of the points that led up into really the digital printing and variable imaging is somewhat interesting, and I hope for our audience as well. In my earlier years, I started out working for Toyota Motors, and we implemented radio frequency barcode tracking and printing systems to automate the processing of vehicles at the U.S. ports. From there, I saw the power and cost savings of automated data collection, variable imaging to support many industries. I mean, at that time, people really thought more about the food and retail segment outside of commercial. I left Toyota back in 1989 and founded a company focused just on that automated data collection and variable printing and imaging. You may be familiar with the company. It was Barcodes West. We were located on the western part of the United States. And we were pioneers at that time, utilizing barcode or automated data collection in various industries that were really begging for this capability. We serviced a wide range of industries, early days from the startup of the cellular industry, wireless asset tracking, to wood products, wood mills, effectively taking and tracking lumber from the forest all the way to the retailer. There wasn't too many applications we didn't see. During that time, there were 4 divisions of that business: a hardware, software, printing, and professional services group. And what really spawned the interest, it was the printing aspect of it. The data collection and the tools were pretty straightforward, but the challenges of printing to be able to support those applications were really a challenge, because back then there wasn't the variable printing options that we know today. My passion has always been in quest for variable printing and manufacturing, and it still runs through my veins. During that time, and I think this is what's interesting to the audience as well, is that we were a converter. We developed various proprietary methods and processes for printing, whether it was with ion deposition, I hate to even say this, dot matrix back then, laser, thermal transfer, flexographic, inkjet, and even more that never made it to market. I saw the value as a converter that we were able to grow the printing division based on the fact that we were only one of a couple of handfuls of companies, manufacturers, that could provide and understand 100% variable imaging. Whether 100% integrity, sequential or unique numbering algorithms, any barcode symbology. And then as things continued to spawn, we saw imaging and personalization really expand into that arena. As customers requested variable print jobs, I continued to invest in new equipment. And I think this is where converters are seeing this today. and the technology and default became more involved with the requirements and developments, ultimately where we were beta sites for many of these digital platforms that are out there today. There are many stories that I can say for another time, but effectively we were involved in many of the beta sites for shaking out new technology, and certainly not for the faint at heart. We learned clearly and what was required to be able to build a product that was converter focused and could adapt to various converting operations. Because we were a technology-based company with the converting operation, it provided us the resources to be just that, a really good beta partner site that we were able to understand the technology better than most. And in a lot of cases, we ended up knowing more about the technology or the equipment than the manufacturer. So it's been quite a journey, one that's been pretty challenging, but very rewarding in as much as we've grown as the technology has grown, and we've been one of the leaders in the forefront of that.
Brilliant. And so obviously it sounds like you had a lot of experience from the customer side in terms of adopting the technology. What did you learn some things from that time to kind of, what led you to really starting COLORDYNE? What problems were you able to solve?
Well, really the problems that we were looking to solve was as a prior life as a converter, was to first understand the need and the utilization of equipment that I had on my manufacturing floor. We were looking to provide the most value we could put on press. The better the margins, the more value add we could add to the work, the better the margins that we realized. The need and really the key aspect of growing the variable and personal printing aspect of things was just getting started back then. And so now with the advent of imaging, personalization, it was really critical to be able to look at what converters and what challenges brand owners, customers were bringing to the table that the converters had to solve.
What makes COLORDYNE different from other digital print OEMs and solution providers?
Well, it comes back to our experience and tenure and really the amazing team of employees that we have assembled. Without fail, that separates us, and that we're agile, knowledgeable, and quality and cost conscious provider. We're experts in the digital printing. We have a portfolio of engines which allow COLORDYNE to reach a broad range of customers, from conventional label tag converting operators to very specific inline and offline hybrid custom applications. Really, one of the key things here, Marcus, now with the expansion of our SIP program, our Strategic Integration Partner Program, is our partners now are leading us into new and unique applications or markets where we're able to, replace outdated digital equipment that may have been early adopters, or integrate Inkjet into new platforms or applications. A good example is we were one of the first and longstanding memjet OEMs, and probably the most knowledgeable on the memjet technology. We have over 600 plus engines installed globally, and we are clearly a dependable source for memjet technology for either an end user or a strategic partner, as I mentioned. As more businesses enter into this market, we've elected to develop this partner program for companies that are looking to develop their own specific inkjet solution. We've announced a product line called ChromaPlex. These products are designed and positioned to support these opportunities for these strategic partners. In addition to expanding the available solutions, this has enabled COLORDYNE really to expand into a variety of new markets as well. Based on our success and development with COLORDYNE, the memjet digital water-based print engine in various widths, we elected to expand our portfolio to include mechanical printhead hybrid solutions, as well as continuing to expand and round out our retrofit in other with other printhead manufacturers. So effectively, what this is doing is we're making sure that we ensure the correct match in technology to the customer's need. In other words, a round peg in a round hole, not trying to fit a round peg in a square hole.
And obviously, the past few months or year has been a challenge for us all to adapt. You look back over the 10 years, you've obviously had to adapt with various technologies because that's the components get better and better, don't they? And then customers ask for different things. How have you adapted in the past 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, over the last 10, 11 years, COLORDYNE has grown really from a single head technology supplier, distributor to develop and manufacture digital engines with multiple print heads. We really recognized the need to increase our intellectual property ownership, expand our engineering resources, and become really multi-technology competent. Further Inkjet further our automated Inkjet systems and processes, and really strategically form the relationships with these integration partners. One, to help increase the adoption of Inkjet in new markets, increased our engineering and manufacturing staff to be able to support that effort, and not only working with brands and label converters, but also with partners, and I even consider other OEMs or competitors. So it's allowed us to address more markets with our SIP program, such as, we've been really focused in on label and tag, but allows us to expand markets into commercial print, packaging, flexible packaging, and corrugated. So our SIP partners, other OEMs, are really seeing that it's an affordable and simplified method access proven inkjet technology by working with COLORDYNE. So effectively, it allows our OEMs to focus their core value proposition on their core products while leveraging our experience and expertise. It's very, very successful, and it's been very, very well received so far.
Brilliant. And sort of, you mentioned SIP, so strategic integration partner, and that's somebody you work with or a business you work with that have a strong position in a different type of market. Is that right? Or
yeah, and I'll get into that a little bit more as we go in here and talk a little bit more about the program, how it works, and it's really focusing on your core competencies, right? So really, just to dovetail onto that, Marcus, is starting in 2018, we saw the opportunity not only to help end users solve their application problems, but to empower other OEMs with inkjet technology to help them address challenges their customers are facing. Started COLORDYNE Inkjet Station, which is the division of COLORDYNE Technologies, focused on expanding the reach of inkjet and bringing inkjet into new markets. So now we work with OEMs in a wide range of markets who want to incorporate inkjet in their products, into their business. It may not be a core competency that they have in-house, but that's where we augment that process, bringing their products to market faster. It affords them the ability to, rather than ramp up and learn the technology from a ground floor up, but rather work with a partner like us to be able to leverage each other's core competencies. It reduces engineering time with our engines that are already pre-designed, pre-manufactured, tailored to their specific needs, and then really develop an integrated product at a low price point. So, we reduce cost and R&D for a strategic integration partner, and it allows the experts in their market and equipment in COLORDYNE allows them to be experts in their market and equipment, and allows COLORDYNE to bring the expertise in inkjet.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So with that in mind, what are the main markets for you and your partners for 2021? What are the main markets you're targeting?
Well, in addition to narrow web, label, and tag, we're now expanding into flexible packaging, like I mentioned, corrugated, commercial print, paper converting, and then we're seeing an expansion as well into mailing and addressing, and then even just simple monochrome marking, one color marking, product marking, dating, and so on.
Yes, they're exciting markets that, frankly, have been quite robust during COVID, haven't they? They've been quite strong still.
Exactly. I mean, we're seeing really a spawning of inkjet in spite of this pandemic.
Yeah, brilliant. And you kind of you hinted anyway, but if you're an SIP, what is the key benefits for SIPs to work with COLORDYNE?
It's so straightforward, and it really, I mean, as you're looking at this as CEO or strategic thought process, we're gonna allow really our SIPs a lower cost and faster time to market. We offer, array of engines that provide and deliver quality production and improve flexibility for an end user. So they're ready to go. Minimizes their capital investment and risk. We've already taken that on. That's it's been flushed through the system. It allows them to remain, focused on their core business, like I mentioned. It gives them more access to engineering and support resources. Working with larger organizations, you don't have that agility, that access, and the support to be able to be agile enough, to move quickly enough to integrate Inkjet into maybe your existing web handling platform or business. Leverage our application expertise, with 10 plus years of really managing the label and tag installation business and marketing in that sector. We're really able to come in and support an SIP with application expertise, and that spawns as well into sales and marketing support. What are the tools that are required to successfully sell Inkjet or offer Inkjet into or on your existing platforms or your existing channel? And again, it allows them to build on the proven COLORDYNE brand is really the key thing. So as you look at it, it really ties into the development life cycle, right? Where we're looking at engineering and design. We take the experienced engineering team that we have on staff, the knowledge of integration, Inkjet integration, and proven engine design and products. Then you take it into integration and assembly. We have the ability for in-house assembly, validation testing, and more of a collaborative approach to integration projects. We're seeing Inkjet spawn off into even other areas in other markets that I've mentioned, but it's really an opportunity to leverage, like I said earlier, existing assets that are on a converter's floor to be able to add more value or more margin and more higher value add products. And then the application services really is another aspect that we support. These are all, they seem somewhat hidden, but are all critical ingredients to the success of implementing Inkjet or variable printing into an operation. So we optimize print quality for specific applications, our knowledge of drying technology for Inkjet and various inks and the relationships we have with ink manufacturers, our partnerships on ink chemistry developed for new markets. And then, like I mentioned, the sales support, the pre and post engineering support, the depth of installation training, and really being able to work with a converter or a brand owner or a SIP on the costing model to make sure that there's a business case before you start the development or the interest in securing Inkjet.
Okay, and obviously it sounds like you're very enthusiastic about the technology and what you and working with partners. So, do you have a favorite kind of part of the role as leading the business? Do you have a favorite kind of part of the role? What do you enjoy the most, really, about what you do?
I think it's a two-edged sword, good and bad. There are no 2 days alone.
Yeah.
We continue to enhance the products, broaden our market reach. But I mean, really what it comes down to is I enjoy the satisfaction of customers realizing the benefits of forward thinking with the adoption of the installation of Inkjet. I mean, when you go into an operation that in some cases, is even have staff or a team that may not be so receptive to change, once you define all the benefits, the facts, the numbers, and the benefits and ROI that come with installing and implementing Inkjet, it really is really gratifying. So it's really the bottom line is taking an idea and making it a reality by overcoming the obstacles.
Brilliant. So the last year has been a challenge for everyone. So what have been a few of the challenges for you and your team over the past kind of 12 months?
I think everybody's facing this. I mean, even as a retail consumer going into a store, is lead times, managing a global supply chain. COVID has impacted most everything. Fortunately, we were recognized as an essential business during these times, and based on strict compliance to COVID protection, we were able to run at close to 100% during the pandemic. So certainly lead times, being much keener about the supply chain movement of products and timing and managing those lead times is one of the aspects. The other aspect is being very candid, and I'm sure you'll hear this from other partners as well, other vendors, is lead generation and engaging with potential customers. I think what Future Print has done here is a great example of what needs to be done. As person in events, in-person events and trade shows have caused business to drastically rethink their approach, right? We, as I think most companies do, more video, webinars, virtual conferences, and demos, and really support, what it takes. We're seeing still the need to see the whites of the eyes of customers, and I think now as the vaccinations get out, we'll deploy, as we have in the past, more of that personal touch and getting back in front of customers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, you got to be respectful of that.
Absolutely. And as we look forward, because I think we kind of can look forward now, can't we? I think we can be sort of slightly more positive about where we're going now. And beyond COVID, what role do you think Inkjet will play in the new normal or the next normal, whatever you want to call it?
I'm going to be as bold as to say Inkjet remains unchanged. I believe it's simply been reinforced because the need and what we've been through is exemplified the flexibility, agility to be able to print on demand, variable information in a timely fashion. So the architecture for Inkjet allows for, like I said, integration and implementation into a wide variety of markets and applications. So whether we're printing on standard labels, packaging, pre-assembled boxes, direct objects, Inkjet is a tool that will help print providers better manage the irregularities in demand that are expected during these unprecedented times and certainly into the future. So we're interested in currently, playing a role by helping these companies become more agile with their production and be able to adapt quickly and be prepared to adapt quickly and cost effectively with this technology.
Brilliant. Well, it's good to that you feel sort of pretty strong. And I guess if you've managed to almost keep up 100% throughout the pandemic, it's a pretty good result. And so obviously demand has been there throughout, and it's really positive to hear that you feel it's unchanged, really going forward.
I don't think it's going to slow us down at all. I think, like I said, it will really fortify the need for flexibility. I mean, we have customers right now that are printing some of the vaccination vials and so on with our products. So it's nice to be able to see that we're contributing to the good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well done. And I appreciate your time today. It's great to have a conversation with an innovator, founder, entrepreneur, because I think that's kind of what we need in the industry to really drive forward, solve problems, and create the kind of right technology that really sort of has a role to play in the future. So thanks so much, Gary, for being part of FuturePrint, for giving us your time and perspective and vision.